town erased. And not because people chose to leave, but because they were forced to leave. Traveling isn't just about seeing new places, it's about the stories we carry with us. Stories of people who came before us. Today, I'm leaving New York and heading west with my first stop in Centralia, Pennsylvania. A town that once thrived with everyday people chasing the American dream, doing everything right. And then, through no fault of their own, it was all ripped away. Walking through these empty streets, I can't help but think about the past, and more importantly, how we can use it to build a better future. This is Centralia.
There ain't nobody gonna do it for you. You got to find your own.
I'm back on the road. It feels weird. Not gonna lie, I think every year it feels weird to leave here and go back to the Southwest. It just feels odd. I've been here a long time. And yeah, it just kind of feels weird. But here's my view for my second coffee breakfast stop. A nice little river. There's a nice little park. Gonna make some oatmeal here real quick and make my second cup of coffee. I've got a 2.5 hour drive to my first destination. I said in a video a while ago that I was going someplace kind of cool and creepy. Been doing a lot of research about it. I wouldn't say it's cool. It's kind of maddening, kind of infuriating, but I'll tell you the story when we get there. It's a town in Pennsylvania that is no longer. And it's not your typical ghost town. And it might make you mad. It made me mad. But I'll tell you all about it when we get there. I've been doing a lot of research, so I'm kind of excited to tell you about it. So you can be mad too. Picked a gorgeous fall day to travel. It's absolutely gorgeous out. The high's been in the 40s, like barely 50 degrees. So I have been running my heat a lot. The condensation inside the RV is really bad. Luckily, I've been plugged in at my mom's house, so I've been running a space heater to help dry things out a little bit, and it really is helping a lot. So gorgeous. Just seems so weird that I'm going to be in the desert in a few weeks.
Welcome to Pennsylvania.
What? You didn't want to leave Grandma's house? You didn't want to leave Grandma's house? We're going back out west. Going to the desert. What do you think of that? Yeah? Driving through Pennsylvania last year on my way back to Nevada to vote, I had a sinking feeling that the election was going to go the way it did. I saw a disturbing number of signs. I mean, I just knew. I knew driving through Pennsylvania that it was over. And that was in September. Yeah, I left here, gosh. Yeah, that's right. I left here right after Labor Day last year. And so that was in September. So I'll be interested to see. I mean, it's not an election year, but let's see. I haven't seen any so far. It's been like 5 minutes. But we'll see. I hope it looks a little different this time. A little too late, but I guess better late than never, right? I have absolutely no plan for my trip back across the country this year. I have done this trip, I think 10, maybe 12 times. And I really have no desire to see anything or go anyplace. I've done it all, I feel like. I know there's a lot I haven't done, and I am trying to be more proactive about what I want to film this trip, so I am doing some research, like the place that I'm heading now, and in order to bring you some interesting places, and also to keep it interesting for me, to go off the beaten path a little bit, find some quirky and interesting spots along the way. Miss Chopin. So right now the plan is just to take it one destination, one town at a time. I kind of don't feel like going through Tennessee this year again. I feel like I've been to Tennessee a whole bunch. So I'm thinking maybe Kentucky, Oklahoma. I don't want to go too far south unless I have to. A lot of it is going to depend on the weather as well. So I have no idea from one day to the next where I'm going, what I'm going to do. So subscribe to my channel if you want to be as surprised as I am. Man, this place is old. Throughout my travels in Pennsylvania, one of the things that always really stand out to me, at least on this trip, are the tiny towns that seem really rural, and yet they are packed with row houses. Why does Pennsylvania, why do these tiny towns, which in many parts of the country would be very spread out, are impacted with these row houses? Well, as coal mining and steel production exploded in Pennsylvania, thousands of workers, often immigrants from Ireland, Italy, Poland, Slovakia, Ukraine, and Lithuania, came here looking for work. These small towns didn't grow slowly or organically. They literally boomed overnight. To house workers efficiently and near the mines, rail lines, and mills, towns built row houses, long side-by-side homes sharing walls. And we're going to learn more about that when we hit Centralia. Railroad Avenue. You can see this is Railroad Avenue. The railroad used to run right down the middle. You can still see the remnants. Welcome to Centralia, Pennsylvania, a modern-day ghost town. This story really hit home with me. It's a story of Americans chasing the American dream, doing everything right, and through no fault of their own, losing everything. I first discovered Centralia, Pennsylvania when I was looking for some interesting places off the beaten path to explore on my travels back west. But the more I dug into the story and the history of Centralia, frankly, the more angry I became at the utter inability or incompetence or the sheer unwillingness of the government to help the people of Centralia. You may have heard of Centralia, Pennsylvania before. You probably heard that it is the town that is literally burning underground. Memorial Weekend 1962, the volunteer fire department was tasked with burning all of the garbage of the town. And what happened after that is nothing short of a tragedy. I'm standing in the middle of Railroad Avenue, which in a lot of ways is where the modern history of Centralia began. In the late 1800s, coal was discovered here. But not just any coal, the best coal. We have the best coal anybody has ever seen. But really, that's true. Anthracite coal was discovered here in Centralia, Pennsylvania in the late 1800s. Anthracite coal is the hardest coal there is. In fact, the anthracite coal is so pure, like pure carbon, that it's like 20% away from being diamonds. It burns hotter, it burns longer, and it burns cleaner. So the town boomed. The railroad came through here. There were 2 railroads. They started to build a road. Some rogue guy decided he wanted to put a bar up on land that didn't belong to him, and nobody bothered him, so he just kept running the bar, and the town boomed. At its height, there were more than 3,000 residents of Centralia, Pennsylvania. Fast forward to the 1960s, and it was a well-founded town. People had been living here for generations. Houses and property were handed down, and people had settled here until the tragedy hit, and that is the fire that changed everything. Memorial Weekend 1962, Centralia's City Council hired the volunteer fire department to burn the town's trash. There was a bunch of stuff going on about illegal dumps all over the place because they didn't have a main dump. So City Council said, okay, it became tradition. Every Memorial Day, gather up all the trash and burn it. And they burned it in an abandoned mine pit because there was coal mining here in the area. And that was the beginning of the end for Centralia. They burned the trash, Memorial Weekend 1962. They set it ablaze, the volunteer fire department, and it burned. They put it out. The end of the day, when it looked like all the trash was done, a couple days later, it was on fire again. They came and they put it out again. A couple days later, it was on fire again. When they dug it out to figure out what was going on, they discovered that it ignited the coal that was exposed on the lining, on the walls of the fire pit. It caught on fire underground and it spread. I feel like that might be the beginning of the ineptitude of how the government officials of the town failed the people. I don't know. First of all, don't you think that you would think that coal burns and you might want to be really careful about where you start giant fires? And the second thing is, why the volunteer fire department as like waste management, right? I guess it makes sense because if it gets out of control, in theory, they could put out the fire, right? But, I mean, it is in 1962. Things were a lot different, I guess, back then. But it just seems, the whole thing just seems very odd. First of all, why was there such an issue with these rogue dumps? You know, why are people just, why are there dumps throughout the city? And, yeah, and why would you burn it in an old mine shaft without inspecting, or mine pit to make sure there's no exposed coal? There just seems to be a lot of mistakes made. That's for sure. You know, I was wondering if I could sleep out here, and I asked AI, and they said, absolutely not, under no uncertain circumstances or terms can you camp out there. It's dangerous and it's patrolled. And I had seen this cemetery on satellite, and I probably could have spent the night here, but I didn't. I spent the night up the road. And if you want to see that, you can check it out on Patreon for members. Patreon and members. Was this simply a matter of government ineptitude, or was it something else? Of course, there are a lot of conspiracy theories floating around. One of the main conspiracy theories that has been around the longest and seems to be the most prevalent is that after the mine fire began in 1962, and again, on a strip mine, starting a fire on an open coal mine seems crazy. They say the fire started in the northeast corner, northeast behind the cemetery. But the theory goes that after the fire began in 1962, Various government agencies, along with private businesses, conspired to get at the valuable anthracite coal under the town. By using ineffective firefighting methods, Centralia, PA's residents were eventually forced into a position where they had no choice but to leave their homes. At first, state and federal governments made relocation a voluntary choice. However, later, when people refused to go, they forced them. And I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. This is a pit. There's a road coming back here. I bet this is where they started the fire. Okay, if you're like me, you're probably asking, if the coal is burning up, how can there be any coal left to mine? Well, the coal seams are huge, uneven, and slow burning. So especially in the early stages of the fire moves like a massive, slow underground worm. Oh yeah. I see a big hole over there. It only burns some sections, leaving others untouched. And importantly, no one knows how big the coal deposit was at the time. So it's very possible that there is still tons of anthracite coal beneath the town's surface, even with all that burned. Really? A fire pit? Really? I don't know if this is coal. Looks like coal. Sure does look like it, doesn't it? I don't know though. I don't know if raw coal would rub off on my fingers. Interesting. Family plot. You notice the last time somebody was buried here? 1969. So I wonder if that's because all the family left once the town became poison. Oh wow, look. Father, mother? Oh, they were parents of somebody's parents. They died within a day of each other. She died September 23rd. He died the 24th. They must have been sick. No birthdays. Huh. This is crazy. When I was in high school, this was still a town. Look at road, just empty streets where there used to be houses. The municipal building and fire station is still here. Look at another empty street. Used to be a neighborhood. Sidewalks are still here. Look, it's crazy. Look. Wow, look. Look at these. All used to be neighborhoods. There used to be houses all along here. I'm going to park, get out and walk a little bit. So they finally realized what had happened. The coal underneath the ground was on fire. And because there had been so much mining in the area, there were tunnels, there were shafts providing the oxygen it needed to keep on going. In the beginning, there was a contractor who said, I can put it out for $1,000. You just need to let me have the coal. And the town council or whoever was in charge said, no, that's okay. And so it didn't take long for the fire to just burn out of control. Over the years, over the decades, different government entities came in and tried to put the fire out, digging trenches to stop it, but they ran out of money. There was one story, the government had a contract or contracted somebody out to stop the fire by digging trenches, you know, like building a hole in the ground so that it would stop and not continue burning all the coal underground. But literally, they ran out of money, like $20,000 more they needed, and stopped and let it just keep on burning. It just seems unbelievable to me. And time again, this is what happened. They kept putting money into it. And I'm wondering, like, is this government fraud where they were giving contracts to people just to give contracts to people and they really had no intention of getting it done? Because it seemed like every time they came close to getting it done, they ran out of money and it took months or years to get the money, and by then it was too late. It was just a major fiasco, a catastrophe. And in the meantime, all of this toxic carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, all these gases were escaping from this burning coal and literally poisoning the residents of Centralia. They had to have monitors in their house. One story of a woman who talked about how they had people coming in their house, government officials, scientists, engineers, whatever, coming in their house every day to test whether or not their home was safe. Each room, they had monitors in each room. Some residents went out and got canaries. You've heard about the canary in the coal mine? Well, if the canary dies, it's dangerous. So people started getting canaries. After a while, I mean, the people wanted to stay in their homes. This was their life. Their families were here. Their friends were here. Their little league teams were here. I mean, you know, their churches were here. They wanted to stay, and they kept pleading with the government for help, and they didn't get any. One attempt that was made in Centralia to help the residents was the installation of these venting pipes. There were several of these ventilation pipes installed within the fire burn zone in Centralia. The idea was that the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and methane gases emitted by the fire would exit through the vents rather than filling nearby homes. These vents were installed in 1980, and they were made of metal and surrounded by a wire mesh to prevent anyone from touching them because they were hot. After they were installed, residents did notice that there was a drop of the deadly gases in their home. However, the Centralia mine fire was a moving target, and it crept through the burn zone. Many vent pipes became less effective, and the gas levels within homes rose once again. You can still see many of these vents still standing along with the wire fencing that protected them. Amazing. Just erased. Completely erased. Finally, in 1982, after the fire had been burning for 20 years, people were getting sick. They had warnings about pregnant women not being here, and some families were forced to leave because they were sick. The federal government, Congress, allocated $42 million to fund a voluntary relocation and property acquisition program for the Centralia residents who were getting sick here. Many people took Congress up on their offers to relocate. However, they had to take huge losses, and a lot of people didn't want to leave. There were some stories of a house being worth $35,000. Congress gave them $11,000 to relocate. Even in 1982, $11,000 was nothing. So again, just government just not looking out for the people. I just don't understand. You know, this was caused by the government, the city council making really poor choices. That's how the fire started, and then not being able to put it out when it was still maybe manageable within a few days of the fire starting. And then finally the federal government's like, okay, we'll give you pennies on the dollar for what your property is worth if you want to leave. That's not help. In 1992, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania stepped in because there were some holdouts. They declared eminent domain, condemning the town and seizing the land of the holdouts for public safety. Now they're worried about public safety. It just seems, again, ridiculous. So there were a few people who fought the condemnation for years, and finally they reached a settlement in 2013 that granted them life estates. They can stay here until their deaths, but after that the state is going to demolish the remaining structures. They can't pass their property down to their heirs. Nobody can inherit it. Once they pass away, their property then becomes property of the state, and they're going to demolish it just like they demolished everything else. There are 5 people left here in Centralia, Pennsylvania, and once they're gone, so is Centralia. I just can't believe this has been going on since 1962. They say the fire is going to burn for 250 more years. It has passed through Centralia. It is no longer burning underneath the actual town of Centralia, but it's still dangerous. There are sinkholes from underground mine shafts that are caving in because the coal that was holding everything up is now ash. There was a young boy in the 1980s who fell in one of those sinkholes, and luckily he was able to grab onto a tree root and not plunge to his death in the depths of the earth and burning coal. I didn't hear a lot of information other than he was saved by a cousin nearby, but there were 350-degree waves of heat from the burning coal coming up that hole. So he must have been burned. He must have suffered some burns, I would imagine. So yeah, that's the story of Centralia. Tragic, right? And that's why it resonates so much with me. I chased the American dream all my life. All I ever wanted was a house and a career and the white picket fence and a husband. At least that's what I thought I wanted. Looking back, there were a whole set of reasons I thought I wanted that. I really wanted this. But that's another story. I chased the American dream, and through no fault of my own, in 2008, when the stock market crash happened because of all of the finagling by the financial industry and the housing industry, my house all of a sudden overnight was worth half of what my mortgage was. Through no fault of my own, I lost my job. And everything just came crashing down. And for me, that was the wake-up call that the American dream is a lie. Centralia is a living example. The American dream is a lie. These people had homes that they raised families in, that maybe their grandparent or their parents, passed down, and just through no fault of their own, it was ripped away, and they were given a pittance. What's that word? They were giving, pennies on the dollar for what their home pittance. They were given a pittance for their homes. I mean, this is why we are where we are. People are sick and tired of working their butts off, only through no fault of their own, to be left destitute, to be left with nothing. So let's go explore. Steps used to go up to somebody's house. When the federal government seized everything, eminent domain, and bought everybody out for pennies on the dollar, they came in and razed all the houses of the people who left, took down all the street signs and everything. I mean, they literally just erased the town. It's just so weird to me that the people that we elect and vote and hire to protect us absolutely didn't and don't. Okay, all the people. Amazing. This used to be a neighborhood. Look at no dumping. Community cleanup area. Oh my goodness. Oh, look. Whoa. Look at. This was probably a beautiful neighborhood. Look at that. I'm a camping spot. Literally. Wow. The fire did not stay directly under Centralia. Over decades, it spread along the underground coal seam. It has moved east and north away from the former residential area. The most intense heat now is in unpopulated forest and former mining land. The fire still covers an area of 400 to 600 acres. It continues to spread at about 50 to 75 feet per year. There is still dangerous ground in Centralia. The thin crust of the ground could collapse into old mine voids. Pockets of carbon monoxide and sulfur gas could make the ground unstable. Yeah, this is an old road. Look. And the steam vents, though fewer than before, can still be dangerous. That's why the town is still condemned. If you've heard of Centralia before, you're probably familiar with an old unofficial tourist destination called Graffiti Highway. It was literally a highway that was caving in on itself, caving into the ground because of the fires. Smoke could be seen coming out of the cracks in the highway, and it was covered in graffiti. This feels like a road. This old road is going on forever. It is windy today. It was a popular destination for tourists to the area. All right, I'm not seeing anything. They finally just had to cover it with dirt because it was too dangerous for people to be out there, and it was an extremely popular place for people to go. Let's go see if we can find the smoking vents and go breathe some toxic air. Just so many roads empty that used to be neighborhoods. Oh, so I'm not allowed to go see the church. Bummer. I wanted to go see the church. I guess I can't. Private property. Huh. This church cemetery is private property. Bummer. Alright. The Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary Ukrainian Catholic Church is the last church standing in Centralia. It was built in 1911, in which time Centralia was a thriving coal community. Many of the miners and their families who formed the congregation of the church were immigrants from Eastern Europe. And luckily they found that there is solid rock under here, not coal. And so the church was saved. It's beautiful. Look at that. It was saved. One of the 5 residents left. Look at, there used to be houses over here. Yeah, a couple of the residents that are left. 1, 2. Pioneer Tunnel? So I want to stay away from the residences. As someone online said, this is not a tourist attraction. You know, and there are 5 people who live here, so I don't want to get too close to their houses. But there is more. These houses used to be part of row houses, and they literally demolished the houses around them. And they had to shore up the walls because some of the outside walls that you see now used to be the inside wall of the house next to it. There's a lot more information if you want to watch more documentaries. I'll put links to those in the video description below. So this is the borough of Mount Carmel, and from the pictures and the video I've seen of Centralia, this is exactly what it used to look like. I mean, this is only 4 miles down the road. I think I'm going to leave you here because I don't know how safe it is. Okay? I'll be right back. One little pull out on the side of the road. Alright, let's go. So the fire is still burning the coal. Did I tell you 250 more years it's going to take to burn all the coal? It's going deep underground through different shafts, and it's just insane. And also, I don't know if I told you, when they were trying to put it out, one of the things when they were building trenches, what they were doing is giving more oxygen. Oh, I see it. What they were doing is giving more oxygen to the fire up here. Oh my goodness. Oh, oh, oh. Look, oh, they said it comes out in puffs. Oh, you can see it. Look at, it's underground coal burning. Insane. They say it's clean coal, but look at that. Residents were inhaling this for decades. Holy crap. Whoa. I should probably be careful. Hold on. Oh, crap. Really feel how hot it is. That's been burning since 1962. Crazy. Wow. What a tragedy. As hard as that was to get up, it's even harder coming down. It's slippery and very steep. I don't know, you can't usually tell so much on the camera. All right, I'm still backing up. Thank God there's branches to hold on to. Oh my goodness. Okay, I don't know if it's my imagination, but my lungs hurt. All right, we're not done. We got one more thing in the area to see that is not related to the tragedy of Centralia. So let's go see that, and then I gotta think about what I'm gonna do. It's getting close to 2 o'clock, and I haven't decided where I'm sleeping tonight. Got a couple options in the area, I figured, in case it took me a while, and it has taken me all day. Wow. Beautiful out here. It's beautiful out here, and what a story. I can smell it before I see it. Oh, here it is. Geyser. I smell it. Oh, it doesn't seem to be geysering. Oh, look at the... Oh, it's not geysering. How come it's not geysering? Or seriously? Alright, well that was underwhelming. It wasn't geysering today. A couple teenagers who live across the street came over and showed me around, and I thought the water was supposed to be hot. I said, is it too hot to touch? And they're like, nah, let me go see. And she put her hand in the water and it was freezing actually. Maybe that's why it's not geysering. But why would it be cold? And how come it only geysers sometimes? Huh. I'll have to look that up. I'm sure you guys know. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, I think I should not be going down this street. I think it might be a one-way street. Oh, but there's a stop sign, so no, it's not. All right, let's pull over. Decide if I want to just find a place to sleep here, because there are plenty of options, or if I want to mosey. Alright, it's only 1:30. Feels later. We just had daylight savings time, so it is later. But, so I'm going to mosey. And just cross my fingers that I have enough B-roll. Alright. Let me pull over, figure out where I am. I'm heading to West Virginia. Don't think I'm going to make it there today. Definitely not going to make it there today. But we'll drive until I don't feel like driving anymore. Or until I find an awesome spot, whichever comes first. Pennsylvania is a lot like Appalachia. I don't know, do any of you guys, there are the steep ravines and like almost like hollers. Look, you see that? Look at it. The row houses. It's rich in coal mining. It reminds me, I don't think Pennsylvania is considered Appalachia. No, is it? Oh, wait. Maybe it is. Let me look it up. Little towns are just freaking adorable. Oh, I thought this was going to go to like a main street. Oh, I see open space down there. Okay, let's go down there. Danville, Pennsylvania. My goodness. Wow. Wow. Beautiful. I'm on Route 11 South. Well, good morning. I drove for about an hour and a half, I think it was, last night. Love my beautiful hat. Don't shoot me hat. So I drove for about an hour and a half, and I ended up here. in this state forest pull off. And I don't even know where I am. I'm near some town with some weird name. Some long, not weird, long. But got a good night's sleep here. There's some hunters out. And Sadie and I went for a little walk this morning. Brushed a dozen ticks off us. Ticks have been really, really bad this fall. I had one embedded in my neck. And my mom's, luckily her partner was able to, I was there, and because it was back here, and he pulled it out of my neck. Yeah, fun times. I didn't expect them this late in the season because we didn't have any all summer. No ticks all summer long. And then all of a sudden fall hit and the little ones started coming out really bad. And pulled one out of my neck. I've had several crawling on me and been brushing Sadie down, brushing myself down, and there were a ton on my socks coming down. So yeah, fun times. All right, I'm hitting the road today. I have no idea what direction I'm going, where I'm going. I'm torn between more back roads or just getting on the interstate. Back roads probably are just going to yield me more one-nighters. And if I get on the interstate, I can get closer to boondocking. But that's what I do every year. I kind of rush through. So I honestly have no idea at this point. I'm 5 minutes from hitting the road where I'm going or what direction I'm going. So you never know where I'm going to end up, what I'm going to find along the way. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up, hype it, leave a comment below, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a thing. And be sure to click that bell so you're notified every time I put out a new video, because I am putting out some midweek videos, so you don't want to change, you don't want to miss a thing. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Time to hit the road. Until next time. In the meantime, be happy, be free, and be kind. I'll see you soon. It looks like a robot. And it's inside, right? Yeah. Ew. We're gonna have to get rid of that. I don't know what it is.